Hi there, welcome to the Inside Track Cheltenham special. Jim Delahunt here with me as usual. Scottish Sun's top tipster. Jim, Supreme Novices Hurdle, first race at Cheltenham. Going to be a big roar. How much are you looking forward to it?
Oh, really looking forward to it. Always look forward to it, Robert. And this year in particular, I remember Harry Hastings. 40 years ago this week, can you believe it, that John Wilson, who was then training at Ayr, sent Harry Hastings down to win the Supreme Novices Hurdle. It was ridden by Chris Grant that day. I know the youthful good looks, Robert, you wouldn't believe it, but I was actually there, and I actually had a bet on Harry Hastings. Dan Flynn's man on the rails. Mr. Johnson laid me a tenner at 16-1 on credit, would you believe? Those were the days. And that was a nice check to come home to. But John, I'd actually, I was a student back then, and I'd ridden out for John, so I knew him well, and I knew the horse well, because a couple of years earlier, they tried to win the November Handicap at Doncaster, and they'd had a massive anti-post plunge on it from 33-1 down to about 6-1. And would you believe it, get balloted out the week of the race? So everybody knew Harry Hastings was a good horse, and then he went over hurdles, and he proved himself to be a good horse. Sadly, never raced again under rules. Went on to running a couple of points, but he had very fragile legs. So John worked absolute wonders to win that race, the Supreme Novices Hurdle with Harry Hastings 40 years ago for Scotland, for Ayr. And I can tell you, Ayr on Saturday, John was there as a steward. And also Chris Grant, the jockey, he saddled a runner which finished second, only beaten ahead. So we're all still alive and kicking, thank goodness, and looking forward to a good day today. But as you say, the Supreme Novices Hurdle roar will go up. It's being run in honour, of course, of Mikey O'Sullivan, who so sadly passed away just a couple of weeks ago. The very young jockey who, of course, won this race just a couple of years ago on Marine Nationale, which goes for the champion chase tomorrow. But I'm a Copeg de Bordes fan, have been for a while, Robert, and I know there's a lot of chat about the hood on the horse this week. Does it bother you?
Well, I mean, since 1992, 40 horses have worn headgear in the Supreme, and all 40 have been beat. So I think it's got to be a concern. And it's the fact that Willie Mullins is having to go for the hood, I think, tells its own story, that they are a bit worried this horse might boil over. The other thing as well is, would he be running 5 in the race if he thought this thing was a certainty? What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I mean, Mullins does tend to carpet bomb these races when he has a lot of good horses. And of course, he has to keep a lot of different owners entertained and happy as well. But the fact for me is that Paul Townend's on board. They've been parading the horse in the hood for the last couple of days. In the morning down at Cheltenham, and I mean, I've never ridden a horse in a hood, but I've seen hundreds of horses wearing hoods. It just does not bother me. It really does not bother me. I think if they're putting it on, it's a precaution. I don't think it's because there's any serious problem. I know that people think he's a bit buzzy and all the rest of it, and there's 60 or 50 or 60,000 people there at Cheltenham this afternoon, but it doesn't bother me. I mean, I'm not plunging on the horse. I think it'll win, but Copeg de Bordes is still my selection. I respect all the other Mullins runners, and I think we should, as we have in the past, the Inside Track programmes. Robert mentioned one or two others. William Money and Work Ahead are two very interesting horses, one trained by Barry Connell and one trained by Henry de Bromhead. And I think, Robert, there's been plenty of money for Work Ahead and Rachel Blackmore in the last couple of days.
Yeah, if we move on to Arkle now, Jim, we've been pretty clear that Magsborough seems to be miles ahead of everything else. I mean, has anything changed your opinion of that in the run-up to the race, or are you still sticking Magsborough as the one to beat?
Yeah, again, not plunging, but Magsborough was a decent price a couple of weeks ago. I had a small bet on then. Won't be backing him today other than making sure he's in the play spot. But Lo de Sud is the only conceivable runner that I think could beat Magsborough today. But I'm not sure there's much to debate here. Magsborough turns up in the same form as he has been. I think he wins, doesn't he?
Yeah, I would say so. And then we move on to the Ultima Whistle Stop Tour. Anybody that's watched the programme knows we've been all over him for a while now. Lucinda Russell's other runners come in for a fair bit of money. Mayertown, he's actually a shorter price now. Do you see Mayertown as a lively candidate now?
Yeah, and I think they do too. I think, again, we've got different owners here, and I think that Mayertown has earned his place in the lineup. There was some doubt whether he'd make the cut, but he's got in there at number 23 of 24. There was no problem in the end for Whistle Stop Tour getting in there. I know that you know one of the owners of this horse, and I know a different owner in this horse, and they both seem fairly confident that they're in the right race. They've got the right jockey on board in Derek Fox. Lucinda's won it twice in the last 3 years with Corach Rambler. I think he's very well handicapped, Whistle Stop Tour, taking out all the Lucinda Russell, all the Scottish stuff, all the fact that we know the owners. I think he's very well handicapped. He had a lovely run over the course, over the new course at Cheltenham a few weeks ago. I think that'll have done him the world of good. I liked the way he won at Ayr the time before. I think Derek, who maybe wasn't quite sure how to ride him earlier in the season, I think he knows now. And I really think Derek Fox is riding at the top of his game now after that injury. So, of course, there are quite a lot of fences that could get in the way and quite a lot of other horses that could get in the way. And I know that I spoke to Nicky Richards on Saturday, and he's quite hopeful about Famous Bridge with Sean Quinlan. But Whistle Stop Tour for me, and I've given him the Nap selection in the Scottish Sun. So fingers crossed.
You just hope he's ridden up with the pace. It doesn't get too far back. That would be the only concern in the race, is he gets himself out of his ground and he's too far back. But I think if he's ridden up with the pace, he's certainly handicapped to win a race like this.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. So fingers crossed for Whistle Stop Tour.
Then we're on to the Mares Hurdle, which has become a totally unsatisfactory event with Lossiemouth, 160 rated mare running this. Shouldn't be allowed to happen. It is happening. Is it a betting proposition, or are you looking at some without the favourite, or are you just bypassing it completely?
I've had a horse in the play spot and I've had a tiny each way, and that each way is on July Flower, because I really liked visually the way she performed last time out. They've given her a long rest in the build up to this race. This has been the one and only target since that win at Leopardstown. Henry de Bromhead, Rachel Blackmore. I think July Flower will hit the frame at the very least. And if there's any chinks in the Lossiemouth armour, I think she's the one to find it out. But again, it's just a race to have a small each way bet in. But July Flower is the one I'm putting up here. What about you?
I'm going to back Calaconte without the favourite at 6-1. I think each way without the favourite. I think but it's a race that was looking wide open a week ago and has now been completely ruined by the fact that the fourth best hurdler in training can now just defect and take a soft option like this. They're going to have to think about this and do something about it, because it's totally detrimental to the festival, is it not?
If you gave me a fiver, I'd put that on this race being a Grade 2 next year.
Yeah. They're going to have to do something. It shouldn't be acceptable, eh?
I would say so. So let's hope they change it.
Yep. And then from an unsatisfactory race to an absolute cracker, the Champion Hurdle, even though it looks on paper, it looks a match, although you do have Stateman coming back trying to win his crown, but I think we've kind of dismissed him. Tactically, this is an absolutely fascinating race. How this is going to be run. Will Brighter Days Ahead get away with doing what she did at Leopardstown? Will the faster she goes suit Constitution Hill? It's a kind of race you don't have to have a bet in. Have you picked someone out, or are you just going to watch it and enjoy it?
Yeah, I wish I didn't have a bet in it, because I would like to just sit back. I love the Champion Hurdle. I would like to just sit back and watch this, but I do like Brighter Days Ahead. I'm on record as saying that Brighter Days Ahead has a really superb chance in this, getting the £7 mare's allowance. I think people keep forgetting this. It is massive if you have a masculine mare, and I think Brighter Days Ahead looks a very masculine mare to me. I think she'll take advantage of that £7 allowance. I think she can beat Constitution Hill. If you look at Racing Twitter or Racing X, it is split into two camps. You're either with Con Hill or you're with Brighter Days Ahead. I'm with Brighter Days Ahead. And as I say, I took 7-2 maybe 10 days ago. I won't be going in again. I'll be sitting back and hoping that the bet comes in. But good luck to all the other contenders. And I won't be complaining if Constitution Hill proves himself a champion. But I've said before, his performances this year have not been up to the grade they were 2 years ago. You have to take that as fact, because it is. But if he does come and improve a stone, good luck.
And then the Fred Winter, a nice easy one, the 4-year-old handicap. You were a total look man, weren't you? Have you added anything to your book since then? Yeah,
I actually napped the winner of this race last year, Lark in the Morning, at 9-1. So I've got a lot to live up to here. I have been quite vociferous about Total Look on the build-up. I highlighted his performance at Punchestown after he ran third there a few weeks ago. I would suggest that Keith Donoghue definitely had a little bit more in hand than that finishing position suggested. But the British handicapper has spotted that, Robert, because the Irish handicapper would have given him £7 less here. The British handicapper has given him the extra 7. And Gavin Cromwell has reached for the first-time cheek pieces. I'm still a Total Look man, because he has been to Cheltenham. He's had a wee look round the course. He's had a good run there. I think he's good enough to win this. But I would put up two who I think will run very well. They're both from the same stable. And those are Put Your Hands Together for Joseph O'Brien with Mark Walsh in the saddle. And the other O'Brien horse, the other JP McManus horse from the same stable, Beyond Your Dreams, ridden by JJ Slevin. So if I was maybe saving on the place pot there, I'd maybe stick those two in, but total look for me.
We've talked about how jockey bookings are significant at the festival, and I thought it was pretty notable that Paul Townend takes a ride in this. Now, since he replaced Ruby Walsh 5 years ago as Willie Mullins #1, he's barely ridden in handicaps. I think he's only ridden in 14 handicaps in total.
Yeah,
he's had 2 rides in the Fred Winter in the last few years. One of them was Gaelic Warrior, which finished second. The other one was St Sam, which finished second. He actually takes a ride in it this year on Sunny Bill. And I think that might be quite notable and a good each-way price. I think it's about 14-16 to 1 this morning. So I think the fact Townend is riding in this race at all is a good pointer. I think Sunny Bill's definitely worth a second look.
Yeah, great shout, Robert. Good stat. And Paul Townend, like we saw in Absurd last year, always to be noted in handicaps. And I'm sure that that looks like a cunning plan from the Mullins team, and Townend taking an extra ride in a handicap. So good luck with that one. And
then the National Hunt Chase, the old 4-miler. No longer exclusively for amateur jockeys. You could have ridden in it one day, Jim. But we both fancied Jericho Rock when we did our Cheltenham preview. I'm still in the Jericho Rock train. Are you still there? And is there anything else that you've dug out since?
I haven't dug anything else out. The other horse I've always liked in this race is Now Is the Hour. I think it's been pretty well found for Gavin Cromwell and Keith Donoghue. But I really do think, and we have discussed this before, and hopefully a couple of people will remember the previous show, but Jericho Rock, 9-year-old now, but very, very lightly raced, has some form with Corach Rambler in another race at this track a couple of years ago. David Pipe is in very good form indeed. It was such a shame that he lost his horse for the bumper race tomorrow, because I think that would have run in the first 4 in the Champion Bumper, the Weatherby's Champion Bumper tomorrow, Wednesday. But he's lost that one, so this now looks like one of his better chances of the week. I would suggest it's probably his best chance of the week. And I think that Jericho Rock, over 3 3/4 miles with Jack Tudor, and my admiration for that young man knows no bounds. I think Jack Tudor will give that a great ride. Jericho Rock for me. I think you agree, but I'm not going to put up anything else just for the sake of it. I'm going to sit back and hope we can get a winner in the lucky last.
Good stuff, Jim. Thanks very much, and good luck with your bets today, folks. Cheers.
Same to everybody.